Hair loss and veganism. That is the topic for today. You know, I think it's really funny, some of the things that I'm hearing lately on YouTube from vegetarians, vegans, meat eaters, you know, everyone. And one of the funny things that I've been hearing is that I went vegan and my hair just started to thin out. It was just getting really thin. It was just falling right down from my head. And, you know, and then the big chunks of hair were just falling right out. So I decided that I gotta eat meat again to keep, you know, because meat will keep my hair from falling out. And I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, man, these are very not, these people, you know, as intelligent as they may try to sound, they're really not looking at the big picture of things. And it's not as simple as just eating meat and voila, there you go. You know, there now your hair's back on top of your head, you know. It's not that simple. So I want to clear up the confusion. Okay? Let's clear up the confusion here. Because I think that after I clear up the confusion, then it should make a lot of sense to a lot of people. So then they don't have to worry about their hair just, you know, falling right out of their head. You know, because I'm someone that has genetic male pattern baldness, okay? So, you know, hair loss is right up my alley, you know. So I know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about hair, because, you know, I'm always just looking and researching, you know, figuring out what I could do to keep the rest of my hair on top of my head. So I will say that when people go vegetarian or vegan, one of the biggest things that happens, in my experience and what I've observed, is that they don't eat enough. They don't eat enough, and they're not getting the nutrients. Most people, even people eating meat, have a lot of hair loss issues. Okay, so it's not just a vegan vegetarian thing, but a lot of meat eaters go bald, lose hair. It's not the meat that keeps the hair on your head. It's not the meat that keeps the hair on your head. It's not the meat that keeps the hair on your head. Okay, got that in your head? Okay, good. So, one of the biggest things, though, that I do see people doing is not eating enough food. The average person is consuming about 1,500 or so calories. If you're eating at fast food places, then you're getting probably 3,000 or more calories. And those people, believe it or not, don't really have many hair loss issues. I'm talking about those people that are not genetically predisposed to the baldness condition. But just your average, ordinary people that don't have a predisposition to baldness, usually their hair's alright, you know, and they're consuming a lot of calories every day because they're not so, you know, health conscious and crazy like we are. You know, we're not these selective and orthorexia people like, you know, Secrets of Longevity calls us. So, so that's one thing I see is people aren't eating enough calories. And if you don't eat enough calories, then you're not getting a lot of protein and you're not getting a lot of nutrients. So if you're not getting a lot of protein, you're not getting a lot of nutrients, the hair's not going to have the resources to grow. Okay? It's like if you're planting a garden and you don't water the ground and you don't give it sunlight, your garden's not going to grow. You know? Well, kind of look at your hair the same way. You got to give your body water, you got to give it rest, you got to give it nutrition. And your hair should grow. Even if you're genetically balding, your hair still grows, it just miniaturizes. So, you know, let's just assume here that, okay, let's assume that you go vegan or vegetarian and your hair starts thinning. And so you decide, gee, I gotta eat meat again because everybody's saying that if I eat meat, my hair will stop falling out. So then the person goes back to eating meat. And right away, they're eating more food than they did before. Because meat, see, is higher in fat and calories than your ordinary vegetable fare. So they're actually getting more nutrition, if you will, more calories than they were on their vegetarian vegan diet. It wasn't that the vegetarian vegan diet was bad, it's just that they weren't eating enough food. Okay? And and one of the craziest things, okay, that I've been hearing is that by not eating meat and animal foods, my hair will fall out. Well, I got news for all you guys out there that actually believe that. And I'm talking to, these people out there with this idea that once they start eating meat, that their hair started coming back, like Cintron Brandon. I have no idea if his father's bald, if his siblings, I don't know anything about him or anything about his family. But he did eat a vegetarian vegan diet, and he said his hair was thinning out. So he decided, I'm going to eat Weston A. Price style and start eating all this meat and stuff back into my diet. And then now he claims that his hair is thicker and it's not as thin. It's very possible that he was lacking in certain amino acids. It's possible that he was lacking in sulfur. MSM. MSM will really make your hair grow. I mean, really. And make it thicker too. It's possible he was lacking in biotin. Maybe he didn't take biotin. It's possible that, there's so many nutrients that I can just list off the top of my head that he could have been deficient in. And maybe he wasn't eating enough. He does say that he was eating a lot of food, but was he consistent for a period of time? You can't just eat really big meals a couple days and expect your hair to be fine. No. And that's the other thing that don't make sense. Is like these people that go back to eating meat, they've only been eating meat for so long, and then almost miraculously their hair is all thicker. Now that doesn't make any sense. Your hair only grows a ½ an inch a month. So you'd have to be eating at least a good, few months or longer meat to really know if your hair is sped up in its growth process or not. So, you gotta take this stuff into consideration, people. So back to what I was going to try to point out is that automatically the people will just assume, well, the vegetarian vegan diet is bad because it made my hair thin, it made my hair fall out. No, it didn't. I'm going to take a guess and guess that Cintron Brandon and these other people, they don't have genetic baldness, okay? They're just having minor hair issues, which are common in people that don't have the baldness condition. And here's something else to think about. If meat did keep your hair from falling out, then why is my dad, my 2 brothers, my grandpa, and pretty much everybody on the male side of my family is bald? And they all eat meat, and they've never tried vegetarian or veganism. Not ever once. They've always eaten meat. Eggs, meat, you name it. Butter, milk, even raw milk. And they're still bald. Their hair still falls out. So that's how I know that those people that are telling you all these things, that going vegetarian vegan make your hair fall out, are absolutely wrong. Because guess what? I've been eating vegan, I've been eating plant-based for a really long time now. Okay? A lot longer than these guys. And look, I still have hair. I'm not completely bald yet, and my hair hasn't fallen out any faster than it used to when I had meat. And to be honest, I actually believe that my hair loss has slowed down. My receding hairline has maintained. It hasn't gone really back any further than it was. But when I was eating the meat and drinking the milk, my receding hairline was going back quicker. It really was, guys. And it makes sense too, because milk has those DHT precursors. So if you're giving more DHT in your body, it's just going to miniaturize your hair a lot faster because you're genetically predisposed to that. So, think about those things. Meat won't save your hair. Meat won't save your hair. Just eat more calories, take MSM, eat whole plant foods, take a rice protein or pea protein or hemp protein powder. You get all the amino acids that you need. you'll be all set. And if you have genetic baldness, then do some of the other things that I recommend doing, like taking saw palmetto. But of course, you don't want to take saw palmetto because that's out of your box, you know. These people don't want to take saw palmetto because that's out of their box. You know, they're afraid of saw palmetto. But it's a natural herb, you know, the Native Americans used it. So if they want to quote Weston A. Price and talk about all the benefits of, you know, meat and butter and all this stuff, you better make sure that you mention too that those natives also ate saw palmetto berries and stuff like that as well. You know, and I did the whole Weston A. Price gig and thing. And I can tell you, I used to say the same things as Cintron Brandon. I went from like vegan, vegetarianism stuff, and then I went right into Weston A. Price, and I was saying how better I felt and all this stuff. But really I wasn't being true to myself. And now I realize, wow, the milk was making me constipated. The animal products was making me constipated. I was going way too overboard with that stuff. And by going plant-based, it brought me more back into balance. You know, and I'm not so paranoid anymore about food and all this crazy nonsense. So, that's the lowdown on hair loss.